Knock knock.
Who's there?
Casas.
Casas who?
Casas, do you know where Bobby Dolbeck is?
Nice. And honestly, you might be right, because it's been a brutal start to the season for Triston Casas, and the Red Sox are really feeling it. So today we're asking the real question, not just what's wrong with him, but what the heck do we do with Triston Casas? Do we stay patient? Do we make a move? Let's break it down. Hello everyone, we're back with B, our AI baseball analyst, who I might say has been dead on with all his predictions so far. Hi B.
Hi Z, hi everyone. Unlike some first basemen I know, I've been seeing the zone clearly all year.
Yes, you have. And that Red Sox first baseman is exactly who we are talking about today. One Mr. Triston Casas, who's experiencing quite a miserable start to the 2025 season.
Yep. Triston Casas has had a challenging start to the 2025 season, no doubt. He's struggling to find consistency at the plate. Having said that, it's important to note that early season slumps are not uncommon, and players often adjust as the season progresses. You remember what people were saying about Rafi after the first 10 games.
Yeah, but this feels like it's more than early season rust, which was clearly the case with Rafi. Through the first 20 games, Casas is batting a measly .172 with 1 home run and 3 RBIs. So he's on pace for 25 RBIs this season. And that's from our opening day cleanup hitter. Pathetic, I'd say. So what's the real problem? Is it just early season rust, or is there something deeper than that?
His advanced metrics indicate that this is more than just early season rust. Do you want me to go into the details?
Yes, please. I'd like to figure out what the heck is going on with our boy Triston. Because right now, I'm a bit worried. Everyone is worried.
Sure thing. Casas' 2025 numbers show a combination of approach issues, reduced quality of contact, and clear decline in plate discipline. He's not just cold, he's off. The first and most obvious red flag is the loss of power. His hard hit rate of 34.9% is less than mediocre and well below league average. His exit velocity is down from last year and is in the bottom third of the league. His barrel rate of 9.3% is again mediocre. He's not making loud contact, and when he does square it up, it's not going anywhere with authority.
Yeah, he has 4 extra base hits so far, 1 home run and 3 doubles. I'd say that's a lot worse than mediocre. Okay, you showed his expected slugging to be 389, while his actual slugging is 266. So this wide gap between slugging and expected slugging, does that actually tell us anything meaningful?
Excellent question. And this is the exact kind of nuance that helps separate a bad slump from a broken hitter. When we break down his slugging profile, we see a significant difference of negative 123 points between his slugging and expected slugging metrics. This normally implies 2 things. 1, he's making better contact than the results show. Given the way he's hitting the ball, we'd expect him to slug closer to 390, not 266, because expected slugging indicates what should happen if you hit a ball like Casas right now. The second thing this kind of expected slugging gap usually points to is some bad luck and/or poor timing. So, some well-hit outs, fly balls dying at the warning track, or timing issues where good contact isn't coming with runners on base. In other words, he's not getting the value from his best swings.
Okay, what does that mean, B? Does that mean we'll see a Casas turnaround soon or not?
Unfortunately, that isn't the whole story. There's more, bringing me to our second red flag, which is that he's not squaring the ball up. See his sweet spot percentage and bat speed metrics? They are high, but they are misleading. While this looks good on the surface, the bat speed just isn't translating into damage, because his squared up percentage is a meager 14.8%, which is in the bottom 4% of the league. Casas is getting into the launch zone often, but it's weak contact or bad timing. He's missing the barrel. So, his contact profile isn't awful and he's been a little unlucky, yes, but it's not like he's hitting missiles and getting robbed every night. The bad luck is real, but it's not enough to excuse the overall performance. Does that make sense?
Your analysis seems sound so far. I mean, 96% of major leaguers are squaring up the ball better than Casas. That's pathetic. He was supposed to be our cleanup hitter, protecting Bregman and Devers. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that didn't work out at all, and I'm relieved Cora moved him out of that spot and shifted him down in the batting order.
Yeah, Breu's batting 4th, behind Bregman and ahead of Story. I think that's fine. The other thing I've noticed about Triston is that it seems he's lost his batting eye. He's always had a good command of the strike zone, not so much this season.
You hit the nail on the head, Z, because that's precisely what the third red flag is. It's Casas's plate discipline, which seems to have totally collapsed. His walk rate has plummeted to less than half of what it was last year. Remember, his patience was one of his calling cards, which has now disappeared. His chase rate is just below league average, but his whiff rate and strikeout rate are in the bottom quartile of the league. This isn't just bad luck. He's lost his zone awareness, the thing that made him dangerous even when slumping last year. So yeah, Casas is chasing more, walking less, and making poor contact when he swings. Put it all together, and this isn't a guy shaking off rust. This is a guy whose entire offensive identity is out of sync.
Yeah, his loss of zone awareness was especially concerning to me, and the numbers bear that out. I had a thought earlier. During spring training, apparently, one of the things that Alex Bregman advised Casas to do was to not be passive at the plate. He felt that Casas was too passive and needed him to be more aggressive, especially early in the counts. I wonder whether that has thrown Casas' approach completely out of whack in the batter's box. Maybe that approach is not something that he's used to. It's taken him out of his comfort zone and he's finding it difficult to adjust. Do you think something like that could be affecting him?
That's actually a really interesting angle. And yeah, I think it's very possible. Casas was one of the most patient hitters in the league last year. His entire approach was built around waiting for his pitch. If he suddenly starts trying to be hyper-aggressive early in counts because of Bregman's suggestion or his own frustration, that could absolutely mess with his timing and confidence.
It does feel like something is affecting him adversely right now. Both his swing and his approach are messed up.
He's swinging more this year. His swing rate is up, his walk rate is down, and it's clearly not helping. I wouldn't say it's Bregman's fault, but trying to be something you're not, especially during a slump, is a dangerous game at this level.
Well, whatever's affecting him, we need him to turn it around really quickly because right now he's really damaging our offense. At this point, I believe that a struggling Casas hurts us a lot more than an injured Casas. At least if he were on the IL, Cora could make adjustments and manage around him. But when he's starting every day and hitting miserably in the middle of the order, that's like a dead zone in the middle of the lineup.
You're absolutely right, Z. And that's not just an eye test. It's backed by the data. Look at the production. Casas is batting just 172 overall with an OPS barely above 500. He has only 4 extra base hits in 64 at-bats. And the clutch numbers? Even worse. With runners in scoring position, he's 2 for 16. That's a measly 125 average. In high-leverage situations, a miserable 0 for 6. That's not just unproductive, it's a lineup liability. When your number 4 hitter can't produce in run-scoring spots, pitchers can work around the big bats. It affects how the whole offense functions.
Yeah, lineup liability is the perfect term for him right now. That's for sure.
And here's the brutal truth, Z. Casas isn't giving you value anywhere else either. He's below average defensively at first base. His fielding run value is -2, and his sprint speed is in the bottom 5% of the league, so it's not like he's a speed demon and can steal a ton of bases. So when his bat disappears, you're playing with a hole in your roster.
Ouch, that's not good. Looks dismal. Alright, so having seen all this, the main question is, what the heck do we do with Triston Casas? Do we sit him for a bit and let him work on his swing and mechanics in the cages and get some extra batting practice? Do you send him to the minors and call somebody else up? And maybe have someone like Romy Gonzalez play first base? Romy's hitting over 400 right now. Or do you think we pull the trigger on the worst option, which is to trade Casas?
That's another million-dollar question. All right, so let's walk through those 3 paths the Sox can take, and each one depends on how urgent they think this situation is. Number 1, sit him. Let him reset. This is the most common-sense short-term move. Let Casas step out of the daily grind, get some heavy cage work in, review video, and take a mental breather. He's clearly pressing, and pressing leads to bad at-bats, which leads to more pressing. It's a vicious cycle. You could give a few starts to Romy Gonzalez, who, like you said, is hitting over 400, and at least see what he can do. This option is low risk and doesn't burn any roster capital. But it only works if you believe Casas is close to fixing it.
Yeah, this seems like the most reasonable short-term move, and I think Cora has already started on this path. He's moved him down in the lineup, and Romy has already played first base in a couple of games.
The second path is to option him to the minors. Down there, he gets regular at-bats, 0 spotlight, and time to rebuild his timing and zone awareness. You also get a chance to call up someone who's hot, or try Gonzalez, or even Campbell at first base in a temporary shuffle. But if Casas isn't producing and the team is trying to stay competitive in the AL East, tough calls have to be made.
Yeah, that's a tough call. The problem is if you call up Anthony or Meyer, where do you play them? Meyer can technically play second base and then we give Campbell a shot at first, or we see whether Roman Anthony can play first. Sounds a bit desperate.
Yeah, that is a bit risky. but the only other option left then is to try and trade him. Now this is the panic button. Casas is 25, has huge raw power, and was one of your cornerstone guys just 3 weeks ago. Trading him right now, when his value is at its absolute lowest, would be the worst possible time to do it. Even if you're out on him long term, you don't sell low unless you're desperate. Right now, this isn't a trade decision. It's a development decision.
You know, it's funny. Last week when we published the Abreu video, I put up a post in the Boston Red Sox fan group asking for their thoughts on whether we should trade Abreu or keep him. An overwhelming majority, of course, said we should keep Abreu, but a lot of the responses actually called for Casas to be traded instead. But you're right, I don't think trading him right now is wise. We'd be selling really low. I don't think we get good value in return. So B, what would your move be? That sounds funny. What would you do? Which path would you advise we take with Mr. Triston Casas?
My call? You sit him first. If there's no improvement after a week or two of cage work and light usage, you option him down and let him reset. But trading him? That's not even a conversation unless it's June and he's still hitting 170.
Yeah, I agree. Our best hope right now is that Triston Casas turns it around. So I think we need to give him more time before pressing the panic button. Okay, here's a wild idea for first base while Casas sits and tries to turn it around. What if Rafi starts taking some reps at first base? He's the full-time DH right now. He could try first base, maybe. An ex-third baseman shouldn't have too much trouble adapting to first base. Is that workable, you think, or is that yet another desperate move that could turn into a disaster?
It's not as crazy as it sounds, Z. Actually, it might be your most functional, desperate idea yet. Rafael Devers has plenty of experience fielding hard-hit balls at the corners, so shifting him to first isn't a huge athletic leap. He's got the hands, the reflexes, and the instincts. Here's where it gets tricky, though. You'd need a real plan for the DH spot. If you just rotate guys in, you're weakening your bench. And more importantly, Rafi hasn't played first in a real game since the minors. You'd be asking him to learn on the fly during the season in pressure situations. So is it workable? Technically, yes. Is it ideal? Not at all.
It is a bit of a wild idea, but then, as you've said before, we gotta take big swings for big results. But maybe it's not time for this just yet.
Yeah, that's the kind of move you try in mid-June if Casas is still hitting below 200 and you're desperate for lineup production. Right now, it's a theoretical plan C at best, not a move you rush into.
Well, yesterday Craig Breslow, the Red Sox head of baseball, was on WEI and they were talking about how well Roman Anthony was doing in Worcester, and Breslow was asked this question: should Triston Casas' struggles continue? What is more likely, Devers at first or Roman Anthony at first? And Breslow's exact answer was this: I think what we will do is everything in our power to ensure that Triston's struggles don't continue. He had a slight chuckle at the end, by the way. So the indication is clearly that Casas is going to get some time to work out whatever's troubling him, and hopefully he can find his stroke again.
I think Triston Casas is too talented to give up on completely. But right now, he's not helping the Red Sox win. And in this division, that's all that matters.
Sure, it's a long season, but this is where we are today. Triston Casas is not hitting, he's not walking, and he's not helping. And this offense can't carry dead weight for much longer.
Right now, the numbers tell you everything. He's a minus at the plate, a minus in the field, and a minus on the bases. This isn't about potential anymore. It's about production.
Yeah, but the Sox still believe in him, and so do a lot of our fans. So here's a question for you. What would you do with Triston Casas? Would you trade him? Would you sit him? Would you option him? Or would you ride it out and hope that his bat wakes up?
Yeah, drop your verdict in the comments. We'd love it if you actually let us know your thoughts, and it also helps our channel grow.
Alright B, we're done here. Anything else you'd like to add?
Only this: Casas is too good to be this bad for too long. But how long is too long? That's the real question.
Also, just in case you're interested, you can check out our latest video on the Red Sox report card right here.
And if you haven't seen it yet, go check out our video on Wilyer Abreu's breakout. It'll give you hope that at least someone in the lineup knows what a barrel is.
That's a good one. Okay, Red Sox Nation, we'll see you soon. Until then,
stay tuned, stay crazy.